Larix are one of my favourite trees to style because they're very forgiving. This is a particularly nice larch because it's a good size and it's compact. And it's completely raw material, insofar as it's never been styled as a bonsai before. It's got some great movement. The thing about styling completely raw material is you've got to really get it down into a smaller pot, because when the raw material is collected, it's collected and put into a large pot. So I've reduced the root ball, and last year got it into this this training pot. It is planted in its final position, and it will display a good nabari. There's only one area which is challenging, and there's a back root here which is resting on the pot. Having said that, it's helped with stability because the tree is wired in very well into the pot. So it's ready for its first styling. The challenge is, because this tree has been chopped, at this point here, this was a very long branch, it was chopped and it's calloused well. So what I have to do is actually hide this. So I really like this first branch here. I know that we have another branch here, but as you can see, there's no growth apart from at the very end of the branch. But this branch is extremely good, so it's my intention to take away this stump, split the branch here, raffia it up, and actually bend this branch and put it down in this position. There is a very good first branch here. So what I intend to do with this is just move it slightly this way using a tourniquet, and I will arrange these branches in such a way that it'll create a good canopy leading up. The top of the tree will be this branch here, and that's good because it's towards the front of the tree, and I always like to have the top of the tree towards the front, not directly over the top of the actual trunk itself, but more towards the viewer. So it's ready for wiring. I have cleaned the tree, it is prepared well, and as I say, there will not be any dead wood, so this dead part of the top is just going to be cut off. There's no reason for it at all. I don't want to have a top gen sticking out. So, looking forward to the styling. So what I've done is I've taken away the knot which was here and cut in deep into the trunk so that I can allow this branch to bend a lot more, so it's flexing closer to the trunk, which is what I needed. And what I will be doing is I'll be putting some cut paste here onto the wound, because large callus really quickly. And what I want this to do is I've actually cut slightly narrower than the thickness of the branch, because when the callus comes over, it should callus to the thickness of the branch. That's the plan. I've also retained this little branch at the front here, and the reason for that is I didn't really want to see much of a scar, so that little branch will hide from the front here the scarring that's going to take place. So once I've put the cut paste on, which will be here, I'm then going to raffia along the branch only up to this point, and then I'm going to bend that branch down to this position. If I'm completely happy with it, I will then cut this branch off. Now this is a security branch should this not really work, but I do like this branch, as I've said before, mainly because it's got here the inner growth, which is so important, because I don't just want growth at the end. I decided not to put any wire lengthways on the branch because the branch is not that thick. So, and also it's quite flexible, and because of the buds this time of year, the sap is flowing, the branch is flexible, it should be okay to bend. And the branch is not going to go through any really dramatic movement. It's only probably going to go around 70 degrees maximum, and that's okay. So I'm going to put one layer of raffia here, and then I will put some good thick wire, probably 3mm, 4mm copper onto this branch, and position the branch, because this being the primary, the first dramatic visual element in the tree. So the bending of this branch, I could put a lot more wire on it, but it would just become ugly, and it's actually unnecessary because what... So if you remember, this is our sacrifice branch, but I'm just still going to keep it, but I don't think we're going to need it. So this is the branch again here, and you can see the raffia, the wire is in position. This wire is not strong enough to hold the branch more. I could put more wire on, but it would become ugly. So what I've chosen to do is to use a tourniquet, and the tourniquet here is connected to the wire here, so it's not cutting onto the branch, so it's going to pull against all of the branches, it's not going to be concentrated into one area. And we're going to tighten it up here and pull it. So I have an assistant who's going to help me. Tighten the tourniquet and I will bend the branch. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bend it using my hands like so, because what I don't want to do is crack the branch where it enters the trunk. Okay, and the rest. Okay, and the rest. We're happy with the bend. As you can see, it's a gentle bend, nothing too strenuous here. So what I can now do is I can cut off this branch. Now that we're confident that the bend is okay. So here we go. And what will happen here with this is that we can position this If you remember, we talked about this little branch here and the position I want it to hide the scar, because there will be a scar here and I don't really want to see it. This will now come round to this position here, and I'll create a foliage pad using these two branches. So it's very fortunate that I have this little branch, and that will fill into this position. Okay. Stop. Okay, good. Super. What I've done is I've used a tourniquet around the back to bring this branch, which actually starts at the top, around towards the back. Because what I'm going to do is this branch, which faces directly forward and pokes you, the viewer, in the eye, needs to be moved around to the side. And what we'll do is we'll use this stump and this little stump at the front here, and I will bring this branch around. And what I'll do is I will not raffia it, I'll just keep moving it and moving it and moving it to such a state that it's as tight as it can go, and then I'll bring these branches in and around. The total image I'm out to achieve in actual fact is quite a wide tree. You know, this, it's going to be about as wide as this branch that you can see here. Because I quite like this long, low look to it, and I think the squatness of the tree, it'll work very well. One of the hardest parts, of course, is creating a very good top. As you can see, what I've done with the side branch here is I brought it in and tied to sit just above here. I'm quite pleased with the length of that. This back branch is working well. I shall position these in such a way that it creates a good back to the branch. What I've done is I've wired this front branch that was facing directly to the front of the tree. I've wired the whole branch. What I've done is I've attached a tourniquet to a stump here and to a stump here, and my assistant will help me pull this and pull the branch around. I've not put any raffia on it, which is deliberate, because I'm just going to pull it as far as it can go. Stop. Okay. So here we can see the branch has now moved to the side. What I should do is I should arrange the branches accordingly. We've got a strange branch here, which is going backwards, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring him around. I think I'll need to put some thicker wire on because there's not enough thickness there. That's what I should do. I'll add some wire to this and to this, and I'll position the branches. I'm about to create the top of the tree, and it's a very important part of the tree because that really starts your eye as you move down the tree, or as you move up the tree, it's the point that it stops. So there is something here in the tree itself which is a significant punctuation point, and that is this cross branch at the top here. This is directly opposite each other, and it is not desirable to have that at all, because it acts like a full stop. So if you pass the knob cutters, I'm going to cut it off. What I will do is I'll take it out. I'm going to leave this little one here just for now to help the healing, but what we have now is a very good left branch, right branch, and then this is going to be the top. So now what I need to do, in actual fact, is pull the top slightly forward, which is what I'm going to do here with this tourniquet. And I've made a bar from 3 chopsticks which have been wired together. I'm going to push the tree, the top of the tree upwards, and my assistant is going to tighten this tourniquet. There we go. And as you can see, we've now created the top. What I think I do need to do in actual fact is reduce this area here, because this branch appears to be coming higher. So what I need to do is I need to reduce the thickness in this point here. So what I now will do is I'm going to position the branches for the top of the tree. I'm going to take this off first. Let's do that so you can see it. I'm reducing the thickness at the top here. And because larch callus very quickly, this will heal. Again, because this is at the top of the tree, when the tree really begins to move, the sap begins to flow, this will bleed a lot. So I'm going to put some wound sealant on it. So if we look at the tree from the front, I'll turn it round. Yes. We have reduced the thickness here. This area has been reduced, so the top of the tree looks like it's coming from this point, and this branch looks like it's coming from the side of this part of the trunk, where in actual fact it's slightly further back. I needed the original chopsticks for the first part of the pull. Once I got the tree in position, then I could tie the wire, another tourniquet lower down, into attach to this very thick wire here. What I can do in actual fact is put it to this position here. Organise this branch with that line in it. So here is the finished tree, and the challenge at the beginning, if you remember, was to create this first branch, even though we had a good one, which was here. The thickness of this branch, which was positioned here, is much better than the shape of the branch. So I'm quite pleased with the transition from here to here, and when this branch sets in 2 years, it'll be fine. But the overall image, as you can see, is a long, low land lying larch tree, styled as a larch tree with these heavy branches. I particularly like this low branch here. As you can see, it's very natural, it's at the right position, but it's also unusual that it's on the inside. And I think that makes the tree slightly more unique. If we look as well, this branch that originally was coming towards you has now been brought to the side. So it's our first branch. It's the thickest, as you can see, thicker than all the rest. So it's a good first branch. Its position is okay. I like the idea that this is all sweeping, which is great, but it's still got structure within it. So those foliage clouds. The top of the tree at the moment is a little weak. Because it's been made from the branch which was at the front, but because the energy of the tree is always to the top, it'll fill out quite easily. Long term, what I intend to do is cut back to a couple of buds, and then we'll grow the branch from that. So I'm looking for good ramification. For the purpose of this demonstration, I've left some of the branches a little bit long. When I get to my nursery, I will cut these back to create that good ramification. This branch here is not directly over this branch. This branch here is not over this. And this branch is over another area. So there's no branches directly over the top of any other. So in nature, each will get its own allocation of sun. The taper as well is very good. Nice and fat at the bottom. And the nabari, although it's not easy to see, is actually quite good. and we have a root here, and if you look here, you'll see that there is a small root which I will encourage to grow, because roots will thicken if they're under the soil. So there we are.